Hello friends, this video will certainly not be as cool as some ducks advertising bots and interviewing RMT barons, giving incredible advice on how to easily get banned in Albion. But I will still try to entertain you at least a little. And for those who do not understand this topic at all, I will tell you what bots are in MMORPG. What are they for, how do they affect the game, and how much our beloved Albion suffers from this scourge. Let's try to figure it out together. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, since almost 70% of viewers do not. Let's get to it, friends. So let's go. What is a bot? It is a program, a kind of tool for automating some process. Usually something simple. If we are talking about MMORPG, then a bot, for example, can control a character, moving it around the location in a given route and, for example, collecting resources at certain points. There are bots that are more functional, there are simpler ones, but still, they cannot do something complex like PvP or farming complex PvE content. But of course, there is an undeniable advantage over a person. No fatigue and scaling of the process. A bot can farm 24/7, and at the same time you can have 5, 10, and so on of these bots. Here, everything depends on your technical capabilities. What are bots for? 99.9% for farming currency, which can then be sold, that is, RMT. Real money trading or selling game values for real money, i.e. bot operators earn real money on the game. Which is actually prohibited in almost every MMORPG I know, but some projects like to turn a blind eye to it. As for Albion, this is probably one of the strictest MMOs, which closely monitor all transactions in the game and quite often ban both for selling and buying. So my advice to you is to play fair. Since I have been playing MMORPGs for over 10 years, of course I have encountered bots in many projects. The first time I saw packs of bots was in Lineage 2, which farmed catacombs and other hidden places. The funny thing is that when approaching them, they wrote you something like, "Spot is busy, don't interfere with farming," and so on. But perhaps the most memorable was World of Warcraft. In the Remaster Classic version, at the start of the BC add-on, I farmed one resource on my Orc Hunter. These were mana snakes, from which mana particles were obtained. A necessary and rare resource for various crafts. And here I met a bot robber from the opposite alliance faction. Of course, I constantly killed him and did not let him farm, for which the bot owner punished me more than once, coming in PvP gear on another robber. After which I went in, killed the bot, and went to relock, and so on every half an hour or hour. This war lasted about a week. But at one point, coming to the same spot, I found another robber already from my faction, because of which I could not kill him. Moreover, the race was chosen symbolic, a troll who only at my sight wrote a /greeting and a /laugh. In general, this household owner had a good sense of humor. The bots themselves have a pretty strong influence on the economic component of the game. Usually their actions contribute to the inflation of some kind of resources and game currency in general. For example, many players in World of Warcraft have encountered bots that simply destroy the ore and herb market. Almost in every update, after a couple of weeks, this type of earnings becomes irrelevant due to the huge number of bots on the layers. In general, in any MMORPG where there is a free market and the possibility of earning money, there will be bots. As for bots in Albion, of course, this game was no exception. But in AO there are some gameplay nuances, thanks to which bots do not cause so much damage to the economy. Firstly, this is the economic component of the game itself, where all resources mined by players, subsequently created items, are consumables. And a significant part of unclaimed items goes to the black market, which also removes some of the goods from the game, which is why it is quite difficult to achieve market saturation. And the second is the full loot of the PvP location, which makes up the main part of the game. All top locations with expensive resources and the best PvE in the game are located in such zones. It is clear that no bot can adequately compete in this type of content, which is why they are forced to live in blue and yellow locations. Because of this, in the survey that I made in the Telegram channel, some players have never even met bots because they simply play in locations with full loot PvP. Where bots, of course, cannot be. But all this, of course, does not mean that bots do no harm. Perhaps the most affected by this are newcomers who have just come to the game, since their competitors in earning silver at the start of the game will be bots, which can be found in the initial locations. Bots are most common in such activities as resource gathering, fishing, and transportation of factional goods. Of course, there are more specific examples like trading bots that resell items. Perhaps there is something more unique that does not catch the eye of ordinary people. For example, in Lineage 2 at one time there were bots that logged in when a raid boss appeared, farmed him, and immediately went into relock. How many bots are in Albion now is probably a rhetorical question, since we do not have and cannot have any statistics. But instead, I devoted more than 5 hours to searching for bots at different times of the day. Honestly, I hope to see some moments with crowds of bots and show you something really fun, but alas, dividing my session into evening and morning, it turned out like this. That in the morning, it would seem, there should be those same tireless machines that will farm resources, fish, and carry hearts. In return, I did not get that much content. Those few collectors I wrote to in private messages responded to me, although not all of them. In the morning, almost all the fish were in place. Sometimes I met fishermen who responded to me, and sometimes there were suspicious ones, most likely bots. But in most cases, the locations were simply empty. Probably bots are also sleeping at 5 or 6 in the morning. Of course, there were some individuals hammering springs in one place, but this looked more like macros since it is too stupid for a bot. But I met a certain number of carriers with extraordinary names and almost no fame, who did not respond to my messages in any way and moved rather clumsily. Here, in my opinion, we can say with confidence about bots. In the evening, the situation changed only in the direction that the online increased significantly. The locations were filled with players and it was already so difficult to find a bot, although I came across strange behavior more than once. Moreover, some of these players, in quotes, were members of the same guilds. What to do if we met a bot? Of course, we can have fun by locking them in a cage, after which they break their route and act stupid. But it is still more preferable to leave a complaint. And how often do you, dear friends, meet bots? Be sure to write in the comments. Because my opinion on this topic is subjective, and I cannot see everything. But in general, even in a couple of hours I managed to find at least a few bots. Do the developers themselves fight bots? If we remember, then perhaps the peak of botting was at the time of the opening of the Asian server. The number of bots was really off the charts back then, and over a period of several months, almost 100,000 accounts were banned. By the way, some players will definitely remember that. Botters declared war on SBI, and for some time they were harassing servers, which made it almost impossible to play. The situation is clearly better now. Of some of my acquaintances who do this, I will tell you right away that I am against bots, but due to my work, I have various acquaintances that come into contact with any prohibited activity in the game. So, according to them, there are bots, let's say, for noobs, which are sold for pennies and are banned quite often, and there are private, expensive ones which are banned extremely rarely. And basically, they fly away along the chain for RMT. I warn you in advance, I don't do this. Don't ask me about it. I won't give you any links, and instead of an answer, you'll be immediately blacklisted. Speaking of protecting the game from bots and other malware like Radar, the next update, which will be released in November, according to the developers, will install new protection. I don't know how effective it will be, but the situation should obviously improve at least a little for the average player. Well, this is a slightly chaotic video, a little atypical for this channel, so try to rate it and let it be known whether you need it at all. Such thoughts and stories are not only about Albion, but about topics affecting MMORPG in general. Also, subscribe to the channel, visit Telegram and Discord with announcements of streams on Twitch and other useful information, and check out the second channel with clips from streams. That's all. It was Regaro with you, and we'll see you in the vastness of Albion.